Yeah, I mean, we're recording. Let's break down the game.
Yeah, break it down.
Let's do it.
Let's do the intro.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching episode 5 of Breaking Down the Game. This is the podcast where we do no research to empower you to be able to do your own research.
Yeah, I like that.
So this is just a podcast my buddy Isles and I do. We like to talk about a few topics related to the Green Bay Packers, and we always get to the upcoming game, which this week is in London. So before we start, please like and subscribe. Check back every week. We plan to do an episode every week during the season. All right, let's get to it. Isles, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good today. Pretty good.
Doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Better than last week, which was shitty, to be honest.
Pretty much, I feel like every time we've been on here, I've been shitty. So today, I'm good.
Yeah, so normal.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So where are you coming to from right now? It looks like you're in maybe a dungeon.
This is my torture chamber. This is where I keep my dead down here. Yeah.
Plastic bags, things like that.
Yeah, if you want to get away from the family, there's like only one spot. So this is like a utility room where all of our crap goes. So I hang out in here. This is where you break down the game, though.
This is where you break down the game. That's
exactly right. Yeah.
So with that said, let's get to our first topic. Snap the fucking ball!
How great was that?
On the Patriots game. So, as the title suggests, this is in reference to Aaron Rodgers being caught on the broadcast yelling that at his center. First of all, Isles, did you see that, and what did you think?
I did see it. I don't know. Immediately, he's so good at like the snap count and getting the 12 men on the field and all that. And I feel again with this whole body of people that are new to the system that maybe he's just frustrated that he doesn't have that kind of regularity to a cadence or to a snap or to getting somebody in position. Because I think the other time he was caught on audio this week was yelling at, I can't remember who it was, but it was like, get the fuck over there. He was like, get out of here. I can't remember what that one was, but
it was Tyler Davis was lining up on the wrong side and he said, get the fuck over there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I think there's some frustration with that because obviously the past couple of years they get so many people, or he does particular on the 12 man on the field, and they get the people to jump off sides on the snap count and get an extra 5 yards or a first down. He's like the master of that. And so I got to think it comes down to some of his frustration with that. Yeah. And it was also kind of fun, I thought, from my perspective, just with the mutual respect with Belichick, how he, the better coaches seemed to be on to him about trying to catch the 12 men on the field. And you saw Belichick going over that fucking timeout. He was like losing his mind. Yeah. So it was pretty good. Pretty good. What about you?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I'm sure Rodgers is really frustrated. So I think you know what it's like to maybe be in charge of a small group of children. We're both fathers.
Yeah.
So it's like you're in a room and you're dealing with your kids and maybe some of their friends, and you're the smartest person in the room, right?
Yeah.
And how frustrating it is to get these kids to do what you want them to do.
Yeah.
Whether it is pick up the toys or do whatever. So I imagine that's similar to what Rodgers is feeling, being the smartest person on the field, knowing everything.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
And the other thing I'd love to see, NFL, please do this if you're hearing this. It would be awesome to have 2 broadcasts. One would be a family-friendly broadcast where you get the dipshit announcers calling the games like we normally get. Yeah. And the second broadcast would be something like only microphones on the field. So all we hear is what's going on in the field, all the smack talking, all the swearing back and forth, and we listen to the game as it's played on the field.
Oh my God, that's a fantastic idea, actually.
I just thought of that as we were talking.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Like a $1 idea there.
I would buy that package without blinking.
Yeah. If you could put a microphone on any Packer, like kind of the mic'd up who would it be? Ja?
Jare. I would love to hear what he says, the type of smack talk he comes up with, but maybe he's quiet. Maybe he doesn't try to antagonize his opponents. What about you, Isles?
God, that's a great question. Probably Coco. I don't know. No,
Jack Coco.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Ja would probably be a good one, actually. Yeah. He seems like he could talk some serious smack. Yeah. I don't know. I can't think of anybody right out of the gate. Yeah, after this week, I would have loved to add one on Rashawn Gary.
That's right. I was thinking he would be really good too.
Yeah.
Rodgers is the obvious choice because he runs everything. But,
Yep.
Anyway, besides that, last thing about the Patriots game, I'll start here. They won.
Yep.
The way I'm looking at it is the overtime period was just an extra 10 minutes of practice for them.
Yep.
Try to get clicking on offense. Underwhelming, especially in the first half offensively. And defensively, they kind of faltered a bit in the second half. But the offense got going.
Yep.
The game was a bore, and frankly, that's all I have to say about it.
Yeah.
What about you, Isles?
I was probably looking for a lot of camera time on Bill Belichick's son because I find him extremely humorous. So that was interesting. I would agree in the first half, it was just kind of a mess. I do think that, we talk about sharpening the knife a lot. I think some of that goes on Rodgers in that half. I thought that he missed some throws that he just typically didn't. And I read some, listened to some stuff with him or read some interviews with him where he flat out admitted he just didn't play well in the first half and he came back out. Pretty arrogant dude, though. He's like, I've played so many great games in the past that I just knew I'd come back out in the second half. I rarely ever put two halves of crappy football together, that kind of. But, that's why he's great. And it's true. And he came back and they started to put it together. I'm just excited. We talked about last week about what we would like to see to sharpen the knife for the squad. And I was saying how I'd love to see them put together a complete game. And it will be a fun day, I think, because it will come in this season where all of a sudden everybody is clicking. Maybe one last word I would have on it is I did hear Rodgers say or talked about how there was the play. I can't remember if I think it was the touchdown to Dobbs that he was talking about how Dobbs kind of picked up on what he saw in the defense, what the call was, and there was some adjustments that were made without speaking to one another. And Rodgers has talked about that so much, about how Devontae was so great at that. So I think that's a really exciting thing to hear, that this young guy's, maybe he's not at Devontae level yet, but just even that he's able to be starting to do those kinds of things with Rodgers. It just shows you, for us to be sitting here at 3-1, as ugly as some of these victories are, with the Giants coming up with possible another victory, it's a blessing that we could potentially be 4-1, and we basically had practice for the 5 weeks and walked away 5-1 or 4-1, right?
Yeah. I totally agree with you, and I'll second the thought on Rodgers being somewhat arrogant. But as you touched on, all the greats in any sport, in any business, in any endeavor in life seem to be real arrogant and full of themselves. That supreme confidence in your craft comes across as arrogant, but it's beautiful to behold at times.
It is.
And we should know.
We should know in a lot of aspects of life: golf, parenting,
music,
podcasting. Podcasting, yeah. Exactly right.
So let's move on. Second topic I'm calling Smell the Glove.
Yeah.
So
right. Explain that.
Many of you know what that's in reference to. And for those of you who don't know, please look it up. Do a little research. But the reason I picked that title is because I notice when the defense makes a big play, and for a sack, for example, I notice that a lot of the players do this.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell that's about, and I want to discuss that, but that's why I'm calling it Smell the Glove. So I think we've all been really excited about this defense, but to be honest, they've been a bit underwhelming. Before we talk about smell the glove specifically, what do you think about how the defense has performed for the first 4 games of the season?
Yeah, it's pretty subpar from what I was expecting. I was expecting, like, I don't know, just basically just a little bit of a different attitude change, because it feels like in so many years of Rodgers' career that what differentiates our defense from a great defense is really an overall attitude, like just a meanness. You have to be somewhat mean and be like ready to stop people, you know? And I feel just like that attitude, I've seen it at certain times from certain players or on certain plays, but overall, I just, giving up good yardage to a third string quarterback, it's just like been the same thing week after week so far this year. And we've talked about it with the soft zone, hitting things over the middle. Just that passing game is what's really surprising me. I thought that we would be a lot better defending the pass, and I just don't feel like we have been. Gary this week, I loved him, but I'm, as you know, a huge fan. And so linebacker play, I still feel like tackling overall has been even subpar in my book. There's a lot of broken tackles and stuff. You need to be pad level, right, as Mike would say, right?
Yeah, pad level.
Yeah, what about you? Where are you at with
I totally agree with you. I mean, we're all aware and kind of sick of tiring about that soft zone in the passing game. But I frankly am shocked that the run defense has been as bad as it has been.
Yeah.
And I think you hit the nail on the head by saying that they haven't been tackling well. And part of that is attitude and fire. And I don't know what's going on, but there's one person I want to point out here. I think Devondre Campbell is having a much worse season than last year so far.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed is that he is not taking on blocks like he did last year. And he seems he's like a half a step late to those tackles as well. So, for example, I saw on a running play he was engaged by a guard. And rather than take the guard on head-to-head and initiate contact, he tried to run around the guard, which opened a big hole for the running back to kind of slide right through.
Yeah.
I felt like he was in perfect position to just push back and kind of blow up that play, stuff the hole. Yeah. Sometimes you have to play those keys and play your assignments rather than try to get tricky and get a big play.
Yeah.
That's just one example. And like you said, it seems like they're tackling a little late, 1, 2, 3, 4 yards down the field. That's AJ Hawk type bullshit that we were sick of seeing. So
I feel like they're like, and this is a total generalization, but it seems like a lot of high tackling too. Like it's too lazy to like go low and cause pain around, and they're tackling like more arm tackle up high, and people are breaking through. Like, really, are you serious? And continue on down the field,
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, but I think part of it, like you said, is attitude. Secondly, it's technique. Yep. And then thirdly, it's playing the assignments like you should be, whether it's stuffing the hole, taking on blockers, or especially with our defensive end, making sure you set that frickin' edge.
Yeah.
So the opponents can't get outside on running plays, right?
Yeah. Yep.
It's good to attack and try to get sacks and things like that, but make sure that your assignment is covered as well.
Yep.
Easier said than done. We're just armchair coaches here, but I think we both raised good points there. So let's move on to the next thing. On the mend, our injured Packers. What do you think? How do you think they're coming along this year? And specifically, I want to talk about Bakhtiari, Jenkins, and Tunyon. They're coming off major knee surgeries, all of them. How do they look to you this year? Any cause for concern?
Well, I think immediately comes to mind is definitely Jenkins this past week seemed like when I was watching got absolutely destroyed. Like he did not have a good week in my opinion. I thought that was it 2 weeks ago when he first came back off an injury. I thought he had a really good week, but I don't know if it's because he had an easier assignment. But last week I thought he got destroyed, and I don't know if that's just the competition that he was facing. He was obviously facing a really good player, but he's got to be better than he was last week against great players because, you know, you look at some of these guys, like if we play the Rams or something like that, and you end up going up or trying to defend against Donald in certain situations, it's like dudes like that can destroy you, you know. So I think with Bach, you know, obviously, you know, they had the limited snaps in the Tampa Bay game, I believe, and I thought he did a serviceable job. I got to be honest, I didn't pay super close attention to him, but I felt like he did pretty well. I did read some stuff with Rodgers, and he kind of pointed out some parts with Bach that really helped, where he did kind of, you know, cover certain situations that he was expecting or gave him extra time. And I feel like, again, that's a kind of a communication thing on offense where it's almost like Rodgers kind of knows what's going on with him. He's so damn aware. It's amazing dude. I mean, I know he's arrogant, but he deserves to be, there's no doubt. So I feel like he's almost able to feel out what's kind of going on with Bach and maybe stuff that we don't even know about. So he knows when he can rely on certain things and when he can't. So I'd be interested to hear what you have to say about sure. Bach. And then Tanyan seems to be like kind of like progressing more and more and more each week to me. I felt like, you know, he had the touchdown obvious this week. I think he's a great blocker. I think he's just, again, he's an attitude guy, which I love. He's one of those guys where when shit's not going well and he gets like a good first down on a third down, that he's one of those spike the ball and just let's frickin' go and get in the team. You know, I love that, you know? Yeah. So I'm a huge Tanyan fan. But anyway, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I'll start with Bakhtiari. The first thing I noticed about Bakhtiari is I'm not noticing him.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. Yeah. I mean, that means he's not really being exposed. And to be honest, I haven't watched the film in depth on him. So I think he'll continue to get better. And I think the thing that you have to be concerned about with players coming back from ACL injuries is that lateral quickness. Yeah. And obviously for an offensive tackle who has to get in their pass sets, that's pretty important to have that quickness. So I look for him to keep building. Let's hope he has no setbacks and he can continue to play most of the game. And hopefully this week and beyond, he'll start playing full games. Yeah, which might lead to an adjustment on the line on the right side of the line, which is where Jenkins is at. Yeah, you know, as you pointed out that, you know, he was getting destroyed on a few of the plays in the last few games he's played. So you can tell he's struggling a bit. Whether that is with his lateral quickness because of the injury, or if it's just a position he's not used to playing, we'll never know that. Only he will be able to tell us something like that, and he's not going to. But he just seems a bit out of place where he's at. Yeah, he obviously is doing a serviceable job, but I think, like most have suggested out in the internet, that his best position is probably left guard. Yeah. Bakhtiari. He can be an all-pro left guard next to an all-pro left tackle. So why not get that left side question and just crush?
Question for you though, like, I mean, clearly when I was young, I weighed about $125 wet, right? So it's like, I don't know jack shit about playing offensive line. Like, how freaking difficult is it to go from left guard to right tackle? Like, is it really like rocket science? Like, is it that much different? Like, oh my God, this right foot is so much different than my left foot, you know, like, or is the science to it that much different?
Well, you know, again, I never played offensive line, but what I can imagine it being like is that you have to flip your brain around.
Yeah.
Which isn't very natural to a lot of people. There are some players who can just kind of slide in anywhere and just do a great job. And those are few and far between, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I do think there is something to be said about playing on a side that might not be natural to you, or a side that you haven't had as many reps with. We kind of saw this last year in the playoffs when instead of starting Nishman against the 49ers, they went with Billy Turner playing the left tackle.
Yep.
We saw that didn't end up too well.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's as easy as it sounds. And we always have to keep in mind, these guys are the best of the best of the best. And there is no room for error, because any little error in an action or a play can lead to devastating consequences. So they have to be super sharp.
Yeah.
But again, we don't know if it's the injury with Jenkins or if it's just being uncomfortable. As for Tanyan, obviously him getting a few passes down the seam, especially the touchdown, is great. He seems to me, and I'll have to go back and look at some old plays, but when he catches the ball in the flats, he seems to like cower up and go into a fetal position and wait to be tackled instead of turn around, bust up field, and look for a motherfucker to bust, right? But, you know, that may be what he's always been like, but it seems like he's still a bit apprehensive. Catch those balls in the flats and make a sharp cut upfield and look to initiate contact. So I guess, you know, they say it, you know, usually the second year after an ACL tear is when people get back to normal. Let's hope it takes less for our players, and because we're going to need them, because we're going to need to eat in the playoffs. So I think let's just hope for good luck healing and good luck with health for the rest of the season. So
get a W and stay healthy.
Get a W and stay healthy.
You got it.
So now on to sharpening the knife.
That we call sharpening the knife, especially on the gland penis. Rub them 50 times.
Mm-hmm.
Sharpening the knife. This week, the Packers play in London against the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be filling up on tea and crumpets. And what do the Packers need to do this week to sharpen the knife to come away with a victory in London?
I think mine is easy. It just came to my mind. It's almost the same thing as it was, I think, against the Buccaneers, but it needs to even be sharper. I think you hit on it before. I think it's on defense, you got to stop the run. Barkley's a good running back. Jones is one of those quarterbacks that can sprint off and grab 15, 20 yards. You got to contain the edges, keep him in the pocket, and you got to stop the freaking run and make them pass the ball. And I think that with the tackling that you pointed out, or we both kind of pointed out, and just bad tackling and stopping the run, you got to stop it this week. It needs to be sharper. Offensively, I think we're looking for more of a complete game. No more BS. Let's put something together like a 45 points. Let's have a consistent effort from start to finish. Let's mix it up. I think that we've seen moments of brilliance, moments of spreading the ball around. We have an amazing running game. Maybe Bach and Jenkins are a bit more healthy. We have a better line presence to be able to open up some bigger holes even for a run. Maybe we get a breakaway on run. I think those are the two major things I'd love to see this week to sharpen the knife. What about you?
Totally agree. You got to shut down the run. Apparently Saquon is, near or leading the league in rushing this year. So he seems to be back in full force. So it's imperative that we stuff him. From what I've seen today, Jones looks to be practicing. And although he's still questionable technically, I think it's very likely he'll be playing. I don't know much about him. It seems like the people in New York are kind of so-so on him. But the fact remains the Giants are winning. They're also 3-1. So there are going to be no pushovers. Obviously, the Packers have a tendency to play down to their competition. And I think we're all sick and tired of seeing that. So first and foremost, stop the run. Force them to pass and play the tough zone coverage scheme. When I talk about tough zone, it's okay to play a zone, but be communicating properly and don't give such huge cushions. I want to see these guys up in their faces, not taking any bullshit.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. I think it's highly unlikely Amos plays this week. The reason why I say that is he's still in concussion protocol, and going over to London tomorrow, they might be looking at sitting him another week to take care of that concussion to make sure he clears everything. The same could be said for Ja. I don't know. I haven't heard much from Ja. He seems like he was getting close to playing last week, so I think he'll probably play. But regardless, get up in their face. Let's play some ball. Let's take no bullshit from these Giants, right? Offensively, minimize the mistakes. No freaking turnovers. Mental mistakes, stop having them and just play your game. That is what I think we need to do to sharpen them.
Dude, I saw the coach in you there. It got frightening. I felt like I was in the locker room listening to my leader. It was good stuff.
Well, it started to well up in me.
Yeah.
That's what the Packers do. They just fill you with a passion.
They do.
It's almost like a sermon, evangelistic sermon.
It is. It's what the good Lord wanted.
It's what the good Lord wants. The good Lord wants the Packers to win on Sunday.
He does.
So do we. So I think we're going to wind this up. I want to thank everyone for watching. Please make sure you comment, subscribe, and like. We want to keep engaging with people in the comments, so please, throw us any questions or comments. I don't care how silly or mundane they might be. It's always fun to engage with people, and that's what this is about, talking Packer football.
I almost think that we shouldn't allow any new subscribers after like week 8 because they should be considered bandwagoners. When we were riding this thing to the Super Bowl, I don't want these people coming in at the second. I want them now while we're figuring shit out.
That's right. You're with us or against us.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. Week 8, shut off the subscribe button.
Yeah, we're just going to shut it off. Yeah, so make sure everyone gets on board before week 8.
Exactly.
With that said, I want to thank everyone again for watching. Right here, I'm going to put a little blooper. That I did, and the video just didn't turn out well, but I think it's funny. But you all can be the judge for yourself. Isles, I wish you a great week.
Ugh.
And
no golf this week. I'm going to miss you, buddy.
I'm going to miss it too. But I look forward to seeing Packers early Sunday morning.
Me too.
Go Pack!
Go Pack, go.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Packer fans, I'm coming to you from the dark. I just noticed that Aaron Rodgers is on the latest Bill Maher podcast. Now, I'm not a fan of Bill Maher. He's kind of pompous.